Hello and welcome to this special episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Our guest today is someone who is a known name in the Indian automotive industry, but he's leading a company which is a not so known name in the Indian automotive industry, and it is going to be the next player in the very promising Indian passenger vehicle industry. I'm talking about MG Motor India, and our guest today is Rajeev Chaba, Managing Director of MG Motor India. Rajeev, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Rajeev, first of all, it's got a good legacy, MG, but not so popular name in India. And moreover, you are a late entrant. What are the key pillars of your strategy here?
So you're right, MG is not that well known in India, though it's 90 years old, 90 years plus old brand. It got established in 1924 in UK, and it was known for its racing cars and cabriolets, and they started participating in global racing competition since 1940 and 1940s. And it has got very good classical cars like T series and M series, and MGB especially became very popular. It was purchased by BMW for some time, this brand, and then it became MG Rover. Rover got sold to Jaguar. Land Rover became part of JLR, and MG got bought over by SAIC. As you know, SAIC is the #1 Chinese company.
Yes.
Very big. It's the biggest in China. They sold almost 7 million vehicles last year globally, and it is the 7th largest size-wise globally. It had a turnover of $119 million. Having said that, I agree, in India people don't know either SAIC or MG. So our job is to establish that brand slowly, and that's what we are trying to do right now. We have started branding activities, and we have got more than 140,000 followers on the Facebook at this point of time. But more than that, I think the important is to make sure
on ground, how are you going about it?
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that our plant renovation happens on time. We took the plant in September last year. I'm happy to say that we are ahead of schedule. We are having a new press shop, a vendor park. We are also having a new general assembly shop, body shop. We are retweaking the paint shop. So the whole plant in Baroda is going to go through a total facelift, and we are ahead of schedule on that. Branding activities we have started. We are going to launch our first product, which is going to be an SUV next year. And we are going to do more than 80% localization in that product. So our sourcing is almost complete as we speak.
Right.
We have started hiring people. We are almost 150 people as of now. By the end of this year, including the blue workers, blue collar, we should be around 1,000 people by the end of this year. So the building blocks are getting in place, and as we speak today, we have our first dealer prospect event here in Mumbai. And I'm happy to say that we have got more than 2,000 registrations on our website, the people who are interested to take our dealerships. Though we are not going for huge quantity selection, we are going for good quality, low numbers. Those kind of partners who will grow with us.
How many dealers are you looking at in the first phase?
300 touch points we want ultimately in the next 4 or 5 years, and these touch points means showrooms, workshops, and also some experience centers. So that's our plan for the first 5 years.
And in that time period, what is the kind of volume you would be looking at?
See, I can talk to you about capacity, and Sumantra, as I was mentioning earlier, that I'll be very candid here that we know our job is not going to be easy. Indian market is not easy, and good news is
you'll know it better.
Good news is that I know it and our team knows it.
Yes.
It means we need to do things in a very different way. So, but our planned capacity for the first 5 years is going to be around 200,000 units. First phase is going to be around 90,000 units, for which we have already committed more than 2,000 crores investment in our plant. Overall investment may take 5,000 crores when we hit our ultimate capacity of 200,000 in the first 5 years. Yeah. So our volumes, if we do well, if we lay the right foundation, if our first product is successful and the other elements are in place, I think we will start with 25,000-30,000 volume in first year and grow up to 200,000 volumes in fifth year.
Right. And you said SUV, and it's understandable because that's the kind of flavor of the industry, not only in India, globally as well. But why not? Above 4 meter? And but here in India specifically, the cream is in the sub 4 meter. And why do you decide to go with a SUV over 4 meter in length?
See, right or wrong, time will tell. But we feel that, as I said, lay the right foundation. Start with smaller volumes, establish the brand. More importantly, give the right customer experience. There's a lot of scope and opportunity in that area in our country.
Okay.
Be it sales, be it after sales. So I think it's better to go slow and give the right experience and build from that base. So we don't want to be in the volume game in the first few years because of these reasons.
Right.
So that's why we chose that product.
And eventually, I would assume that you would look at the sub 4 meter also.
I think everything would be on table because in the long run, if you want to be a mainstream player in the country, you need to participate in most of the segments, especially the big segments. And
Right.
as you said rightly, less than 4 meter is one of the biggest segments now. And the government of India has shown clear intentions since last many years that they want to promote that segment because of the congestion issues. So we would have to play that game at some point of time. So I
Right.
won't rule it out, but at this point of time, we don't have a plan.
Okay, SAIC is a huge organization, many brands. In addition to the models that you have under the MG brand, would you also tap into other brands to kind of build a robust portfolio here?
See, the good news is that, as you said, SAIC is a big company, it's a global company, it has got many platforms. It has got SUV platform, it has got small size platform, it has got mid size, it has got even big platforms, and it has got its own platforms in MG and Rover brand. It has got a commercial brand called Maxus, so there you have the bigger SUVs, D segment SUVs also you have commercial vehicles, and then it has also JV brands and some of the JV joint venture brands. There is an understanding between the partners that some platforms are co-owned and they can be sold in certain markets. Obviously, both the sides have to agree on the sharing. So the good news is that we have a choice of many platforms. We need to be clear what is the launch cadence of those platforms. And as we know in India, we need to be very, very careful that what exactly is required by the Indian consumer. And you have to be careful.
Right.
So we will have that approach.
So the room for error is very less or non-existent in India.
In my earlier avatar, some of the global bosses used to say that India is the toughest market. If you can be successful in India, you can be successful anywhere in the world. And that's true. Because, in terms of, we all are Indian, so we know our value system of, and our psychological thing on the value, the cost, the frugal way of operations. So we have a very unique and typical behavior. So I think we need to be careful and mindful of that. So good news is that we have learned a lot in the last many years here. We know what needs to be done. And the only thing is we need to execute it well. We need to have the right set of people to execute it well.
One thing about the product portfolio, if I'm not wrong, SAIC doesn't have a diesel, especially a small diesel. And when you're talking about SUVs and other segments also, diesel will be critical. How would you plan to address that issue?
I think few questions we need to answer. Diesel was very relevant 5 years back. How much it is right now? How much it will be in 2020 once BS6 comes? How much it will be in 2023 when RDE comes, the next phase of BS6, right? And as all of us know, it's a public knowledge, diesel is showing declining trend. And it's because of many reasons: emissions, government initiatives, the court initiatives, pollution issues. But still, you're right, it's relevant in certain segments, especially on the high-end side, it's relevant. So what I can say is, and by the way, SAIC has got 2-liter diesel engine, BS6 ready, in Maxus, Maxus brand. So we have diesel engine on the higher end side. So I can tell you one thing, that wherever it makes sense and wherever consumers want diesel engine, we would bring diesel engine. But we need to see at the longer picture, and maybe diesel gets replaced by new energy vehicles,
Right.
by hybrids, by EVs. Then we have to play that game.
Right.
So we are very mindful of that, and we are not talking about short-term gains here. So in terms of our new image, in terms of future technologies, in terms of new energy vehicles, I think we will have a combination of all the power plants.
And so you wouldn't shy away tapping into another supplier, another OE to source engines if you see a demand of, say, a smaller diesel engine in your portfolio?
So in automotive world, we have lots of collaborations globally, and we keep talking to other players for any synergy, for any cooperation and collaboration. So if suppose we need to outsource diesel engine, we would not shy away from there, and we will tap into the best source.
And your vendor base will be very key, especially when you are looking at hitting the ground running. How many vendors have you got on board, and what's the strategy there, and what kind of localization level would you look at?
So we have two parts to this localization strategy. As I mentioned, that we are going to get some overseas suppliers to be based in our Halol plant, and so they will be localizing it and sending it to our manufacturing line. So that's one part of localization. Another is to give a lot of business to the Indian suppliers, and both these together we are targeting almost 80%. So we are almost at the concluding end of sourcing the components, and more than 95-96% already we have sourced as we speak for our first product.
And how many vendor partners do you have as of now?
Exact numbers, frankly, I won't be able to give it to you, but definitely it's more than 50 vendors at this point of time.
Rajeev, I want to talk about the NEVs, the new energy vehicles as they're known in China, electric vehicles in the rest of the world. And China has moved really very fast, and it's the world's largest automobile market, and also the world's largest electric vehicle market. Very strong players there, OEs, SAIC, one of them. How are you? Does that give you a confidence that when India, the mass scale electric mobility takes shape in India, that would give a kind of a strong position?
I think, Sumantra, you should give this answer yourself, because I know you have been going to China for the last many years, and you have been attending the global auto shows there, and you are seeing the progress of Chinese companies towards this particular technology. This I can say with a lot of confidence that China is way ahead of many countries in this space, in terms of technology, in terms of intent, in terms of futuristic outlook. And especially SAIC is there in hybrid vehicles. They have got EVs, they are into fuel cell. They are spending more than $3 billion in R&D in this space in the next few years. SAIC has opened a technical center in Silicon Valley, in Israel, to make sure that we are in the forefront of this technology. Coming back to India, I think the government has started the talks in the right spirit. The direction is very clear that we need to move into the new energy vehicle space. Now we need to put the building blocks there. So the government is trying to make the policy, trying to get the regulations, the battery infrastructure, charging infrastructure, the policies on range, consumer education, incentives, GST, all that stuff the government is trying to put in place. It will take some time because it has to evolve, and we may make mistakes a little bit here and there, but the direction is clear. So I can say with confidence that we definitely will be in the forefront of EV launch, and we are studying as we speak. We are also trying to test vehicles in the Indian road conditions. We may surprise the market with our launches, so let's stay tuned.
And when you talk about that 5-year horizon, can we expect at least the first of those coming in that 5-year horizon?
Yes.
So you confirm that the first electric vehicle could be in the first 5 years?
Yes.
And you'd look at hybrids and fuel cell vehicles also, because you have
fuel
that.
Cells probably commercialization of that is slightly further away.
Yeah.
Hybrids, I won't rule it out, but again, it depends on a lot of questions which we need to answer as a country. So good news is that technology is available, product range is there, and we need to fit the Indian elements into this quiz and then decide.
A tech center would also be very crucial, right? I mean, not only for NEVs, but for conventional vehicles. Is that part of your plan
I think
of
it's
the
too
building
early
block?
for me to talk about that. I think it has to be a step-by-step approach. So right now, obviously, we are having a good engineering base right now for localization, a little bit of modification. So we are at that stage of engineering. I think in the next 3 or 4 years, we will make sure that a lot of testing starts happening locally. And then SAIC definitely has a global plan, and you may have heard that the chairman has announced very recently that SAIC would like to sell 1 million vehicles in the next 4 or 5 years globally. So when you are selling globally, it will require a lot of engineering resources. And India would be in the forefront of having that global engineering center, because most of the multinationals, as you know, are doing it from India already. So India has already proven its mettle, and we are known for frugal engineering, as somebody coined the phrase here. So I think India definitely would be a very good prospect for a global engineering center, but it's too early. It's not planned yet, but time will tell how do we go there.
All right, and as you progress with your plans, our best wishes, and nice talking to you after a long time, Rajeev.
Yeah, Sumantra, take care. Thank you very much. Nice to get reconnected.
Yeah, same here. And thanks for watching this episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Do keep following us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course our key platforms of the website www.autocarpro.in and our fortnightly magazine, Autocar Professional. Till next time, goodbye.